It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
Experience the ultimate thrill, Porsche GT Track Day, where passion meets performance on some of North America's most legendary racetracks. Designed exclusively for Porsche owners, this is your chance to unleash the full potential of your vehicle in a motorsport environment. Drive the same circuits as professional racers, on the same weekend as Porsche Sprint Challenge events. Where will your Porsche take you? With limited space, every Porsche GT Track Day ensures a premium, exclusive experience. You'll get nearly 3 hours of track time, starting with reconnaissance laps, progressing through lead-follow sessions, and culminating in exhilarating open laps. Plus, strap in for heart-pounding hot laps with a professional race driver.
I thought I was fast. Didn't resemble anything that I've ever done.
Beyond the track, immerse yourself in VIP hospitality, premium viewing areas, and exclusive paddock access where you can witness Porsche Sprint Challenge teams in action. Spots are limited. Scan the QR code now to reserve your place at Porsche GT Track Day.
We're here in fantastic Austin, Texas. Enjoy, when they say everything is bigger in Texas, they really mean it.
They really do, including this fantastic facility, FIA Grade 1, 20 turns, known as the Circuit of the Americas.
And the Porsche Sprint Challenge North America is going to be tackling it today, so let's see how they do. We've got Scott Blend of Ruckus Racing. Scott, you've started to earn the nickname of the Iron Man. You did every race of the weekend back at Sonoma, and you're doing it again here at Circuit of the Americas. What pushes you to try that?
You know, I just want to maximize this track time. You know, I'm here, I might as well do it. I've got the energy to do it, so you know, it just and every time I do, I just get a little better every session. You know, so that's the goal. Is just to keep improving.
I know there's the obvious difficulties that come with it, but what are some of the other things that you have to be concerned with when trying that over a weekend?
So, of course, this weekend the heat is brutal, but when it's hard on the team, you know, to get the cars ready, and it's always back-to-back on the cars and qualifying, and so you have to have kind of two separate crews, you know, running the each car. So that, I think, it's the timing and just everybody being in sync and everybody being ready when it's time to go.
Is there anything this weekend that you found out from doing it at Sonoma that you think will help you?
Yeah, I think we've learned, you know, a lot out on track with the pit strategies. And I think you all know we fall back early, but at the end, things seem to be working out well, and we're there at the end and fighting for that podium. So, yeah, just a little bit of track. We're going to miss Mike Johnson this weekend. He's not here. He's really good on the box. But no, it's just we get a little better each time with our timing, with our prep, with our execution. And I think that's what we were learning is how to improve on that.
Well, best of luck. Drink lots of fluids.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll see you on the track.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Everything's bigger in Texas, then we get a bigger field of cars too, of course. It's time for Porsche Sprint Challenge North America Cup Series. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Roush Racing driver Joey Atterbury, along with Carrera Cup North America driver Ashley Freiberg. Joey, it's our biggest field of the weekend. It's going to be wild.
Absolutely. 35 GT3 Cup cars attacking what is Circuit of the Americas out here. A 20-turn FIA Grade 1 facility with tons of elevations. There's a couple key areas that we're going to be talking about, specifically passing zones. We look towards turn number 1, also known as Big Red, a hugely steep incline in elevation which really helps the cars decelerate up there, but it is a funnel effect from apex off. Very wide on entry, very, very narrow up at the exit. Then look towards turn number 11, one of the most important corners because it leads you out onto that back straightaway, which of course turn number 12, the biggest brake zone on the racetrack, a great passing opportunity. Turn number 15, the stadium section, the slowest, most technical area on this racetrack. And then, of course, turn number 20, Andretti corner to round out the lap here in Austin.
We've already seen some action in that corner at the end of races. We'll see if we get that here today, as Alan Metney is going to be on our Solaris flying lap pole position. Edgar Cole-Kleck, as we've come to know him, is going to be starting to his outside. From there, Scott Blend hops out of the West cars and gets right into the North America car, starting from third, as it'll be Caden Kelly in the 4th position. Then it's Therese Lalou, who will be P5 with Demir Hott next to her. John Gilliland will be starting in his 7th with Tony Melito in 8th. Daniel Bloom is going to be in our 9th position with Joel Johnson in 10th.
And 11th, we have Laura Eli. Next to him is going to be David Williams starting in that 12th place position. In 13th, we've got Reinhold Kron with 14th. Todd Treffert lined up next to him. Row number 8 is going to contain Josh Conley as well as Mike Mim, 15th and 16th. Row number 9, the next page on down is Mark Bowden and Tim Kesman starting in 17th and 18th. And then to round out our top 20 is Gufarov as well as Frank Vitiello.
After that, it is going to be Eric Lapp starting 21st with Poole in the 22nd position. They'll be followed by Grady Willingham starting 23rd today. Daniel Ammon doing both the Caymans and the Cup cars will be starting 24th. Thomas Herb is then in 25th. Alex Pratt starts 26th today, followed by Chiacchetti 27th. White in 28th, and Wichard starting 29th. Fenn's going to be an invitational in 30th. Last few cars here: Shermer, Womack, DeJesus, Manship, and Joffe, rounding out our 35-car field. 2 classes going to be racing at the same time. The Pro-Ams will have black boxes next to their names. The Masters will have blue boxes next to their names. Absolutely creeping around the final corner. Alan Metney really backing everybody up here. Let's see if that does affect the start as they come towards that green flag, waiting for the flagman to give them the signal. And it is definitely a slow start at the front. Everybody getting into line. What's going to happen once they get up into Big Red? My goodness, they're absolutely creeping along. And we did miss a few cars at the back. Now as they finally give the green flag and send them on their way. Metney with a good jump. Kleck looks like he might be in trouble, as that is going to be Scott Blend looking to the inside along with the 208 of Therese Lalou, trying to take that position away. A little bit of contact there back in the field. It is side by side for the lead. Joey coming down to 2.
Yeah, it's Kleck and Metney arguing door to door through turn number 2, and they're going to have to get it sorted out before we reach this S's section. Looks like Metney will hold on to that lead, but I also saw Caden Kelly pretty aggressive on that start, moving over, making sure to defend the inside of turn number 1.
Cole Kleck getting penalties for his starts and restarts back at Sonoma, wanting to try and get this one right here today, even though he's not on pole, as he fights for the lead there and just gets rebuffed a little bit. But how about Therese Lalou, not only in 3rd overall here, but now trying to see if she can take 2nd position.
Yeah, the great start right there, and I think I see just everybody still warming up the tires. You saw Cole Kleck in that 211 kind of give the fake down to the inside, but that wasn't a move on the racetrack. He was just trying to get the tire temperature up in there. That way he can force an issue later on.
Caden Kelly, your leader in the Masters class, currently third overall, so that was him, apologies, in that pink, blue, and white machine. He's losing a little touch with those top two. There's a look to the inside coming down to the break into turn 12 by Cole, but I don't think he's close enough. He and Metney have been in a class of their own this season.
I love watching these cars decelerate. The Yokohama tires provide so much grip. The Porsche Cup cars just have an immense amount of performance in them, and these drivers are taking full advantage here at Circuit of the Americas around what is turn number 15. A little bit slow on the exit from our leader, Metney. Kleck's going to try to take the long way around. That's kind of difficult there. He's up in the marbles.
Oh, he's running out of grip. The car got a little squirrely there, but he'll collect it back up. Has to be careful that Caden Kelly doesn't separate the pair of them, Ashley, because that's a Masters class driver.
Yeah, super close racing here, although I'm sure that gave Alan a little bit of breathing room. Alan just needs to focus forward now and just be super tighty, because it's pretty clear if you slide just a little bit, you lose a lot of ground.
That was definitely one of the stranger starts I've seen all season, Joey, and it does say that the start is under review. As a racing driver, do you have any idea what was going on there?
I think that Metney was just trying to make the run. Oh, there's a big look to the inside. Metney leaves room at apex, but no pass done at turn number 1. But talking about the start, I think that Metney was just trying to make the run to turn number 1 essentially as short as possible for himself. That means everybody else behind can't get that huge leapfrog run or try to jump the start out there. I think what might be under review, Joe, is there was a lot of cars that were essentially late to pair up.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what the call will be on that one, but we'll see what race control says as they are looking at it. Oh, as we go side by side once again, down through 7 and into 8. Ashley, we saw this a lot in the USA West. The 7-8 combo seems to kind of open up opportunities.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Cole is making passing opportunities in places I would not expect, so he's definitely starting aggressive. Oh, he's trying to dive to the inside. Will he make it stick? He does, so he's just got to maintain this. Oh, some contact there. Got to be careful with that front end suspension hitting the rear tire in these cars. Looks like he might be okay, though.
Little bit of smoke popped up. Hopefully we didn't cut a tire for either one of them in this situation, but now Cole is going defensive, coming down into turn 12 all the way to the inside. He's going to be very shallow into the corner. Can he get enough of a run here as he parks it on the apex? Back underneath goes Alan Metney, but he doesn't get the speed, Joey.
Does Metney force the issue? Yes, just kind of gives the feint to the outside, and now he's going to try to cross over, but this is going to put that black second-place car probably on the wrong side of the road because you see it is all tight left-handers through this stadium section, and now almost a reversal. It is actually Kleck that has the poor run coming out of 15, so Metney's trying to take advantage, and I think that Caden Kelly is loving what he's seeing out his windshield. He's just looking for the opportunity for the pass.
He doesn't want to get involved in this. He would rather just take the overall win here, which, I mean, the way things are going, I wouldn't put it past him on this one. Also, I noticed that behind, Scott Blend got by Therese Laloux for 4th overall. Blend, of course, trying to chase down Caden Kelly for that Masters win after just coming off victory in the USA West cars.
Well, I mean, we can catch our breath here because the cars are only, what, 1.5 car lengths apart here on the front straightaway. Can kind of go up into turn number 1, spot your brake marker, and then things really start to accordion effect down into that brakes, and then they'll kind of stretch back out in the acceleration zone. But you're right, new player on the scene. Scott Blend has made that pass, and now he's creeping up on the back of Kelly.
It's a wild start to this one. The adrenaline pumping, not just for us, but I'm sure the drivers as well, Ashley. It seems pretty intense for that lead.
Yeah, actually, if you notice, the top 4 drivers are in separate classes as well. So Scott Blend getting by Therese, he's trying to battle with Caden Kelly there. So the 2 front drivers battling it out is actually helping Scott catch the leader. He's trying to go for that win.
And he is indeed now on the bumper. Remember, he was separated before, so clearly some speed in the 245. Well, they weave around the turn 11 hairpin onto the back straightaway. They're all trying to get as much of a run as they can as far as the track limits will allow to get the speed down into turn 12. But after the initial craziness between Kleck and Metney, it does look like Cole is now putting a bit of distance.
Well, he's gone purple sector 1, purple sector 2, and that sector 2 was half a second faster then Metney directly behind him. So I think that he has turned off the proverbial rear view mirrors, focusing out the windshield and just laying down the performance in terms of those qualifying laps. Try to run away while you can. We've seen a couple full course yellows out here, so you know what? Enjoy the lead.
Tony Melito on a very good race right now. His highest finish so far this season was 2 6th places. So him sitting 4th in class is boding well for him. And he's been, honestly, on the bumper of Therese for the last couple laps here. So she could have some problems trying to solidify this podium finish.
Difficult spot to be in because you see those cars directly in front. You're trying to keep up with them, but you also have the pressure coming out the mirror with Melito in that 203 cars, talking about Therese Lalu that you were just mentioning. But Scott Blend, another really good lap for himself. It seems like a personal best that I see. No, I'm sorry, a 211.6 as we're side by side here on the front straightaway between the 203 and the 242. This is Therese Lalu getting passed by Melito up in turn 1.
Slides up the insides, and that is a textbook maneuver. So Melito is onto the podium now. This would be his first of the season if he can bring this one home. And Damir Hott is in behind them as well, making it a fight between 3 cars to decide that last step, at least as it sits currently. But yeah, you talk about Blend's last lap. That was the fastest in class as well. He holds the quickest in the Masters now.
Cole Kleck put down a 210.3, which was about a half second faster than anybody else, as we see these cars really try to take advantage of those track limits. Now, if you watched the West race about an hour ago, there was kind of, call it mixed emotions about going up and through 8, 9, and 10 complex, whether you want to use that inside rut or if you just want to keep the car nice and stable.
So haven't seen as many drivers trying to take that dirt line, at least in this race so far. We'll see if that changes as it goes on. Metney regained a little bit of time up there, Ashley. It's, whoa, and down to 0.3 of a second now. So yeah, he's coming back at him.
Yeah, he actually is going purple this lap, so Metney is definitely got his eyes there on Cole to try to catch him, pass him.
And I saw a good exit by Blend coming up towards turn 13. What's the camera's going to show? He took a dive down the inside, but Kelly cuts back underneath him and retakes the lead.
Yeah, we're going to see if he's going to be able to force the issue again here in 15. Doesn't look like he's able to complete that pass, so maybe threw a little bit of a curveball at, what was that, turn 13 down there, but he's going to definitely learn from it.
Thought he had an opportunity, but just maybe a little bit too eager in the moment. 26 minutes plus a lap left in this race, so there's still lots of time if Scott feels like he has the speed to try and get by Caden Kelly here for the Masters. Oh boy, we are back again for round 2. Hit the bell because Metney has caught him.
And he's got a huge run on the front straightaway. We see Kleck already move defensive going up into turn number 1. Really defensive on the inside part of the racetrack. You just got to make sure you nail the apex, which he does. So he gets the car nice and slowed down. Metney's not going to be able to do anything around the outside of turn number 2. It is a long sweeping right-hander that feeds you into this fast S section where you go left, right, little tap of the brakes right here to control the front end of the car, and then modulate the throttle as you just try to balance it through this long right-hander.
Yeah, based on that move, if I was Metney right now, I would say, okay, he sees me in his mirrors. He's not focusing forward anymore. Oh, big contact there. Got to be careful with that, as we saw in the previous race, but everybody's clean here. So Metney is definitely on a mission. He just really needs Cole to maybe just get a little bit of a slide somewhere to be able to make the most of an opportunity for a pass.
It's not the Texas Longhorns for Metney, it's the Chrome Horn today. He's given it to Kleck to remind him that he is there, does get a good exit. So will he have another go down into turn 12? Will he force a defensive move from Kleck, who seems to really like to go very shallow when he defends, which could open opportunities for Allen, but no, they will stay on the racing line this time, Joey.
Yeah, maybe just moves one car width over to kind of dissuade Metney from trying to think about anything down there into turn number 12. And now we go through this incredibly technical section. It's almost agonizing as a driver because you know these race cars can go so fast, but you got to go slow, slow. Does Metney force the issue? No, once again, defensive, and that's going to open the door on exit. We'll see if Kleck can put the power down. He's keeping Metney on the long side, which he needs to do. Nice defensive game.
But again, he can cut back a little bit here. It's just too long of a corner coming around the tower and down to 19. So he slots back in line. Now, he managed to get him to try and go super shallow into turn 1, Ashley. I wonder if he'll get the same mistake from him again, or has Cole learned?
Yeah, Alan just needs to keep Cole's mirrors filled at all times, because definitely he is watching back there and changing his driving line quite a bit, which can sometimes hurt your speed through the corners. So we'll see how this plays out.
Doesn't go defensive this time. He'll stay on the racing line, but he does try and take a wider entry. I think Metney knows the game here. He needs to get the launch off the corner to find his way past these two. Apparently very close on speed, Joey, because neither seems to be able to get away from the other.
No, and I think that Kelly's doing a good job. It was about 2.5 seconds of a gap between these two in third place, but he's actually closed it down. Let's see if Metney forces the issue. This is where he kind of got out the chrome horn right here at this apex this last time. Not quite as close, and judges that closing rate a little bit better, but you see the tail end of the car really slide out from underneath him. I think that's a difference in driving style. He's not used to putting that much brake pedal pressure in at that part of the racetrack, and it just simply slid out from underneath.
Cole gets a chance to finally breathe a little bit here and get that car off of his bumper, but I don't think it's going to be for long. There you can see that separation Joey was talking about behind them for the Masters lead, not far back. His blend is almost about a second off. Melito still running in that excellent third position, has managed about 2.5 seconds away from Lalu.
Talking about Melito, I think that he's doing a fantastic job. His last lap time, another big slide out of Metney in turn number 12. But talking about Melito, he matched Scott Blend, was actually just a touch faster than Scott out there on the racetrack. So Melito doing a fantastic job after getting by that 242. But Ashley, with how much Metney is sliding these tires, how much do you have to worry about the Yokohamas and managing them?
Yeah, you really don't want to be sliding at that rate, because once you do that level of damage, it's really hard to bring the car back. So Cole is doing a great job maintaining his tires here, so we'll see as the race goes on. But honestly, I think the track is just really slippery and really greasy, because I also saw right after Alan had a bit of a slide, I saw Caden right behind him slide as well. So I think it's just a really greasy and slippery track at the moment.
Well, for reference, the Caymans ran early in the morning, and it was already hot then. It was 90 degrees Fahrenheit. It's now 115 on the track surface right now. So yeah, it's a bit toasty. Oh, in the background we saw Blend forcing another defensive move from Kelly, cuts back and sees if he could get the over-under, but no, it is once again not there, but still, it is teasing him going back-to-back with wins.
I think that Scott does have a little bit more performance in the car, because we just saw him race and he was laying down some 210s in terms of that USA West race. So might be getting checked up just a touch from this multicolored number 208. But I mean, that's racing. Sometimes it's difficult to get by. It's not just called lapping.
That's true. It's a motor race out there. That was a big slide, and the trailing car seems to be having trouble. How much of the aero wake, Ashley, do you experience in these Cup cars?
It's pretty aggressive, because these cars have a lot of aerodynamic help. So I'm sure as you're getting closer that his vehicle, the handling is changing quite a bit. So you have to adjust your driving style, maybe be offline a little bit so that you can get a little bit of aero help in the front of the car. But as we're watching here, I think honestly what it's going to come down to is who is the most precise, who is taking care of their car and their tires the most, because just the tiniest slide can really cost you here. So we'll see how this goes.
Yeah, 20 minutes plus a lap left, so if you don't have the tires now, you're surely not going to have them towards the end of the race, and that will make quite the difference, whoever is taking care of their stuff. Could we see some hard charges through the field? I think of Therese maybe. I wonder if she is saving a bit of her stuff since she allowed Melito through early on, despite having what looked like pretty good pace at the very start of the race.
A 211.8 out of Therese that last time by. Compare that to Melito directly in front to a 211.5. And actually, she might have some company, because I see Hot behind her at a 211.5 as well. So we all know how accomplished Therese Lalu is out there on the road racing circuit, and she's doing a terrific job, sitting 4th in class right now, 6th overall. It is going to be a hot day here at COTA. Not only are you going to have to manage all of the grip levels on the racetrack, you're going to have to manage those temperatures inside the cockpit. I just checked the ambient air temperature, over 90 degrees here at Austin, Texas right now.
And that might not sound like much to our Texans watching, of course, but it's super humid today. It is just sticky and stifling. out there, so it feels even worse inside the cockpit, no doubt, tucked inside that car. Well, Scott continues to take a lot of curb and is just bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, this race in particular is definitely a test to your physical fitness and your hydration level as well. Are you drinking a lot of water constantly throughout the day? I know before a race here, especially, if I don't have a water bottle in my hand, I'm not doing it right because you sweat so much. We've actually put thermometers inside of these cars. They don't have air conditioning, so at a track like this today, as hot as it is, it's probably 120, 130 degrees inside the car. So imagine yourself cooking and you're fighting this beast around this incredible racetrack. It's really physical.
It is always going to be hot inside those cars, and one of the oldest jokes in racing is, hydration, always important. You want to meet your favorite driver? Go find the porta potty on pre-grid.
Always trying to stock up on those fluids as they come into the stadium section once again. Still, Scott's not giving up on this one. A few mistakes here and there. We saw him kick up a lot of dirt coming over the crest of 9, but it is not slowing him down. Credit to Kelly in all of this, Joey, because it doesn't seem like he's been phased.
No, and the lap times are staying very, very consistent, which is key to road racing. You know, the more mistakes that you make, that driver behind is going to notice them and start to kind of force the issues in the areas that you've made those mistakes. So I think that Kelly did a terrific job off that initial start. He kind of went a little bit narrow in terms of turn number 1, but he defended that inside line, and it gave him the track position that he currently sits in right now.
I have a feeling this is going to be our battle for the championship, both in Pro-Am and in Masters here. Kelly and Glenn seem very close on pace with one another, and then Kleck and Metney have been close to one another. It's, in fact, I think 11 points between Allen and Cole after 4 races so far. And Cole has taken more of the wins, but his 9th place is what puts him behind on the championship.
Saw a little message from race control. Car 212 had a little bit of some extracurricular activity at turn number 11, but it seems like they've continued out there on the racetrack. And remember, that's the corner that leads you out onto that long, long back straightaway. So not surprised to see aggressive moves go on there as we continue to watch Scott Glenn just hound the back of that number 208 car. And remember, these are in the same class. We talk about the difference between the Pro-Am class and the Masters class. Well, Caden and Scott are in that same class.
I haven't mentioned it much this weekend. The Masters, of course, the drivers who are over 50 or will turn 50 at some point during the course of this race. So imagine being 50 years old and also having to experience these sorts of conditions. Here we go down into turn 12 with a nice move by Scott Blend, who got himself a great exit out of 11. He's already ahead in the braking zone. Quite shallow into there, though. Question is, will he make it off the corner? He goes all the way to the rumble strips. Caden Kelly says, thanks, that's my chance to try and come back at this one, but no, doesn't have the run to 13 and gets pushed back to second for the first time this race.
And crucially, Scott parked it there at the apex of turn 13, kind of preventing any over-under that happened, and I think we might actually have a car stopped out there, but hopefully we stay green flag racing. Wonderful pass for Scott Blend to take that class lead in the 992 Masters category.
So it sounds like that was the 288 car. That was Gafarov. It did say it was in turn 9. Didn't hear what happened that put that car there, but at least they're going once again. Already seen some mistakes from drivers out there, just boiling inside these cockpits, and now we have a new leader in the Masters as Blend takes 3rd overall.
So this is kind of the shift in the race for this bright neon yellow number 245 of Scott Blend. So he's got clean air now, right? He doesn't have to deal with that turbulent air being kicked off from the car directly in front of him. We've seen the performance earlier in the races of how fast he can actually go. Now is go time. Let's see what he's got.
This is definitely preparation for him for the Endurance Challenge, which will be on Sunday, because he's running that one solo. And so all these other drivers that have a teammate can hop out of the car. He has to be in there for 90 full minutes competing and trying to bring home a good finish. So yeah, this 35 minutes plus a lap is already going to be just grueling out there, but it will at least give him an inkling of what he's going to be up against once we get to the big race that we've got coming on later in this weekend. Distance between Kleck and Metney is still at about 1.4 seconds. although Metney still holds the fastest lap of the race, it does seem that Kleck's got his measure for the time being.
I tell you what, ever since Scott made the pass, Caden's picking up on it. Yeah, there's, call it 5 car lengths between them right now, but Sector 1 was nearly identical between those two cars. They both laid down a 28.0, and Sector 2 a little bit favoring Scott out there, but I'm talking hundredths of a second. Sometimes that's just how it goes. If you're Caden Kelly, sometimes you need to pick up a few cues. Oh, he's rolling the brakes a little bit better through here, a little bit deeper, as I see Kelly really have that big slide through turn number 13, struggling with those hot temperatures on the racetrack.
In fact, both of them, we've seen those little slides here and there, and that has allowed Tony Melito to start to catch up. So that is a car that is not in their class. That's Pro-Am for the 203 machine. As we got a nice little battle trying to make out who this is. I think that might be either Bloom or Hot. Yeah, I think that's Hot leading a pair.
Yeah, I believe so as well, and I think that is Bloom and Gilliland giving chase. Gilliland, of course, in that Moo car that looks like a cow, the white and black themed car, as we round out turn number 20 here. So crucial to nail this exit because, of course, it leads you up into that incredibly steep turn number 1 here at Circuit of the Americas. Looks pretty even between these three. You're going to have to look towards that brake zone, see if you can force a mistake or if a car goes wide up at the top of the hill.
Yeah, Gilliland doesn't want to get tangled in this. He's racing at Masters, but these two are Pro-Am. Tamir Hot for the CHR team there, trying to hold off the JDX racing car of Daniel Bloom. And they're very close on track for what is effectively 5th in their class at this stage, but definitely towards the end of the top 10. Bloom will have to wait.
We almost saw 3 different, or I should say 3 varying lines through the S's right there, and it's not because the drivers are trying to find and search for that clean air, just it's one corner after another, so if you get behind, Ashley, we talked about it a lot yesterday during some of the qualifying sessions, there's no way to come back other than slow down.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to be super precise with your car placement on this track. As we see as well, sometimes if you go through turn 8 and your outside tires are on those gator teeth curbings, you might end up moving your car a little bit wide, which could hurt your exit and your run down into 11. So you always want to think ahead here, focusing on what's the most important part of this corner so that I can maximize my speed.
So 249 out of turn 1, who seems to have had an issue, and that's Chiacchetti. But car carries on. Not sure what put him in that position. Having a good lap this time by as we come back to Tamir, Daniel, and John.
Ooh, Tamir a little bit slipping up there at the apex of what is turn number 15. Just allowed those two cars to close it in that ever little bit closer to him. You got to be careful about managing those slides, and we've been talking about the rear end slides, 500 and plus horsepower going through these 6-cylinder motors, 4-liter, so you got plenty of horsepower underneath the rear wheels, but you also have to worry about the front wheels. ABS can also kind of be a tire killer, but understeer, if you put too much pressure on that front end, it'll just start to wash the front end with how hot these track temperatures are.
It's the second time in a row we've seen Daniel Bloom go wide out of Andretti, and it's cost him, with turn 1 being such an excellent passing opportunity. He's kind of throwing that one away a little bit there. Meanwhile, John Gilliland gets closer because of his tiny slip up, just maybe waiting for the chance to get by. Gilliland not under pressure. It's about 6 seconds down David Williams, so I imagine he's going to bide his time.
Agreed. I think it really is a battle between Bloom and Hot, and there you see Bloom almost making contact, front bumper to rear bumper there, and then Demir kind of goes defensive right in the middle of the racetrack, and this is kind of where we see the varying lines, but it's all about putting the power down, as this looks to be a battle a little bit further back on the racetrack. They are just now approaching turn 8 and 9.
Exactly, so trying to make out who we've got competing out here. Someone obviously liking that dirtier line, coming up over 8 and even 9, kicking up a bit of dust through that portion. It might be Bowden versus Conley out there right now, but we jump back forward to Tamir Hot, who is starting to run away from Daniel Bloom now.
It's exactly what he wants to see in the rear view mirror, under no pressure going into that turn number 12 brake zone, can just solely focus on what the driver needs to do to extract the, call it, maximum performance, minimum lap time, and once again, you just see the yaw of the cars through these slower speed corners. I think the higher speed stuff, not as much of an issue with that aerodynamic help, Ashley, that you had mentioned, but this slow speed stuff seems to be where the drivers are struggling.
Yeah, certainly through these sections, you have to be super delicate with what you're doing to the pedals and to the steering wheel. And I'm sure out there as well, some of these drivers are making adjustments in their car with brake bias and ABS and all those things, because through those slower speed corners, like I was saying, it's just super delicate with what you're doing to the car, and it can make the biggest difference in lap time.
Kind of wonder when we're going to see, Joey, a chocolate milk variant of that car for you, since you're such a big fan.
I got chocolate milk in here in the broadcast booth, Joe.
I know, you always do. And, maybe we'll have to have a chat with John, see what you can make work for that sponsor. Meanwhile, he's had enough, I think, and is ready to try and put himself ahead of Daniel Bloom's car as he's starting to get a little bit more persistent.
Let's watch him just kind of go through the S's here, see if there's any variation between the lines. They both straddle those orange curbs, so trying to keep the platform as smooth as possible. It actually looks pretty tidy from both of these cars right now. Gilliland not being able to apply the pressure simply because Bloom was able to get through the section nice and clean and then up over the crest of the hill. Now, in the camera shot, we can see up over the crest of the hill, but trust me, in the race car, you cannot see up over that and then charge down towards what is turn number 11 down here. Saw Therese Lalu just exit the shot. She's doing a terrific job at 2:11.8, but you got to watch out because Demir just set his personal best lap time half second faster than Therese.
She's still running fourth in class. Demir Hot in fifth behind her, so that would be 4 points. Does need to bring it home, but it's only 7 minutes plus a lap, so it's coming down to it. She can just keep the pace up. It's about 2.7 seconds between them, so just a tenth at a time. Still would maybe only get Demir Hot there by the very end of the race, so he's going to have to put some really stonking laps in.
Once again, the cars, they actually look pretty settled. Oh, a little bit of kick of the dirt right there, and I think that was coming from Demir Hot, and looks like some fast laps being turned up at the front of the field as well. I was just glancing down at timing and score, and I see Caden Kelly just put in his fastest lap, and then also a purple Sector 1 out there. So lots of things going on the racetrack with 6.5 minutes plus a lap.
I was keeping an eye on Kleck and Metney as well. It was down to 1.1 seconds for a while, but it's back up to 1.5 now. So I think Kleck is doing what he can to try and prevent Metney from getting a whiff of things here. He knows now that he's got that track position, he really just needs to keep putting them down.
Let's see if we can have any development up through and into turn number 1. I gotta give credit to all of these drivers. It is not easy to perform at these levels. I'm talking about at the temperature levels that we've got here in Austin, Texas today, let alone being inside the race car. It is so easy to slip up and make a mistake, but we've only seen very small self-spins so far in this race. Been very clean.
Wondering if we could get some shots of the 214, the 227 train of cars forming behind them. That's Treffert, Johnson, Eli, Bowden. They're all only about half a second apart from one another, so that could be a good battle there in the mid-pack for fifth in the Masters. So top 5 up for grabs.
And like you said, those are all Masters class cars. So yeah, that is a good little battle going on the racetrack. It's actually just behind the battle that we are watching. There's Therese once again going through the shot, but what I'm a little nervous about is that if I'm on that JDX crew, I'd at least be letting her know, say, hey, turn your consistent lap times. Don't worry about those cars in the rearview mirror. Even if they are faster, do what you can, and guaranteed you probably won't even have to deal with them ever. There's the huge train of cars coming out onto the back straightaway that you were talking about.
Yeah, this is definitely looking like it's shaping up to be an excellent battle. It is Treffert at the front of it in the 214 that you see in the red, white, and black being chased. Laura Eli under attack from Bowden, who gets down to the inside of turn 12. Can he make the pass stick is the question. The bright blue car is going way deep into the corner behind them. Somebody gives the corner complete miss.
I think that was Conley there in the 299, and thankfully he was able to go to driver's right. Everybody's going to driver's left to aim for that apex, and he was just in there way too hot. And Ashley, that happens a lot. Unfortunately, we've probably been on the receiving end of it quite a few times, but it can be scary seeing that car rapidly approaching in the mirror.
Yeah, for sure. I think sometimes as well, your reference points when there's cars battling in front of you sometimes get askew, or he might have had a mondo draft as well with those two being side by side down the back straight, so he might have just misjudged his break point there, but thankfully everyone made it through clean.
And Bowden did get the position, so he is now 7th in the Masters class, getting by Laura Eli. Let's see if he can catch up to Johnson just in front of him. There's Treffert still trying to run away from Johnson up into turn 1. The 227 is not going to try and show a move, although Treffert goes defensive.
Yeah, right in the middle of the racetrack there. Oh, another big slide. That was out of that car of Joel Johnson, that 227, just trying to put the power down up and over the top of turn number 1. I've talked about turn number 1 quite a bit. Steep on the uphill, over crest, and then it falls away from you on the exit. So in terms of vehicle dynamics, there's a lot going on that you have to kind of manage as a driver and understand, right? The more you understand what the car needs and what it's going through, the better you can apply those skills.
Bowden really looks like he is on it right now. He made that pass and is already applying pressure to Johnson now at this stage, as Johnson uses quite a bit of the track that I think is beyond the limits down at turn 10 there. Down into 11, will he try and get that launch? No, Bowden is right on top of him, but was it a good exit for the blue and black machine?
What I would be fearful of directly in front of Bowden, talking about Joel Johnson, is if you run all that way out wide and run over those alligator curbs, sometimes you can have a little bit of that brake pad knockback that can kind of throw you off in the beginning half of that corner, and I think that's why we saw that little bit of a slip up really deep from Johnson. This could be an opportunity for that blue car of Bowden, but just not quite close enough to take advantage.
Well, and on top of that, this is the 3rd race of the day right now, so I'm sure there's a nice little collection of pieces and things that could cut up a tire out there, so doesn't want to abuse those limits too much at this stage until they can sweep some of that stuff up. Meanwhile, it does look like this is helping Treffert as he puts a few car lengths between himself and the multicolored Johnson.
See him just roll their way through 16, 17, 18, down the little hill here to turn 19. I think it's one of the most tricky corners on this entire racetrack, but it seems like this entire group was able to navigate that very, very nicely, and once again, very orderly through the final turn here at COTA. Nobody's making these huge lunges off of those corner exits, so I don't see any runs happening up into turn 1 this lap.
Just doesn't look like it, although Bowden seems to think so, but that looks more like a feint just to try and see if he can get off the racing line, which it does, and it gets him right on that rear bumper, but as we've seen, the move out of 1 into 2 just never seems to work.
Yeah, that was a smart move by Bowden there, because you can see just ahead of him it's starting to get a little bit slippery there, sliding around a few times, so Bowden knows if I can just pop out and just let him know I'm thinking about it, it could potentially cause the car in front to make a mistake.
And here's the thing, Joey, clock is now ticking down to where next time by, I'm pretty sure we'll get the white flag.
Yeah, I think you're right. We should be getting white flag this time by, essentially. 35 seconds left in the race. I know we're watching the mid-pack, but there's no way our leaders are going to be able to cross start-finish by that time. Timer reaches 0. Oh, another little bit of a look back there from Johnson going into... Oh, that's a huge moment. That's a spin coming out of turn 11. Hold the brakes. Just barely gets it into the wall. It should be okay to resume.
He gets it back onto the track, but surely the rear of that car is not in ideal condition after that one. Eli gets to catch up to Bowden thanks to everybody checking up from the spinning car in front, but Laura's not able to try and attack down into turn 12. A bit of a shame, as it was looking like a pretty good race for Johnson up to that stage.
It kind of feeds into all the points that we've been talking about, and look at this. I've noticed it's gone from 1.2 seconds now down to about 0.4 of a second. They just grabbed the white flag. Can Metney steal this away, or will Kleck hang on for the victory?
And it was close. I think they crossed the line just as it hit 0 there. Kleck, again, liking to defend very shallow into those sharper corners, making himself vulnerable, but we have not yet seen Alan Metney able to capitalize on it. That time he just about did, but his momentum was blunted.
Oh, you know what? But that he might be in trouble for that one. He went completely to the inside of that orange curb and then has to correct that slide through the long right-hander. You see Kleck in the middle of the racetrack. This is where Metni was carrying so much speed earlier and really gave a huge shove to our leader. But this time it's actually Kleck on the racing line that is able to accelerate away.
Last lap, so you don't need those tires anymore, but even still, he is abusing them, and Metni is now paying the price as he drops back almost 3/4 of a second.
Let's see what he can do here. Only about half a lap remaining at COTA. I think that this is a nice gap. Remember, it was only about 0.3 of a second on the front straightaway, about 3/4 of a second here on the back.
It's going to take something special if he can catch up to him. That, or he'll need to see a mistake out of Cole. And this won't give the points lead back to Cole Kleck, but it'll be 4 wins in 5 races if he manages this. Meanwhile, it looks like Metni is going to at least kind of keep him honest at the end as he slides through turn 13 and uses up even more of the rubber.
You just have to be careful. We've seen lots of, call it lazy spins on the throttle. You don't want to throw it away with only a handful of corners remaining.
Man, this one really heated up at the end of the race and gave us some excitement, but it looks like Cole is just going to deal with this with spectacular aplomb, as he cannot be shaken from that top spot despite the speed that the 298 has been showing. Round the final corner, Cole Kleck is going to take win number 4 of the season as he celebrates at the line.
Nicely done, nicely managed. Of course, Metni following him through. That was a lapped car. I think that might have been what caused that gap to kind of close up. And then there is the 245. Scott Blend wins in your Masters class.
Incredible what he can do after going through a previous race, hopping right back into the car, and still coming away with the victory and having to fight for it. John Gilliland, he wanted by Daniel Bloom, even though it wouldn't have been points, but was not successful that time.
Sometimes when the team is watching, you got to give them a little bit of a show coming around the final corner there as we watch this next group. This was that battle between Bowden, Treffert, Laura Eli and company as they finally finished today's race.
Man, I mean, we have been spoiled today, Ashley, with some of the on-track action. That was incredible stuff.
Yeah, Cole did a great job there at the end. Alan was definitely putting the pressure on and just happened to take advantage of those tiny, tiny slides that Alan had at the end. And also huge kudos to Scott pulling 2 wins in the same day. Definitely a lot of driving time in this heat, so he's killing it.
Just doing an amazing job. That's just about everybody. The last few need to find their way across the line. Manship and Lap being the next couple on this one. In fact, that's a very close battle. Not for points, though, as they are in different classes. And looks like Vitiello and Herb as well, still tussling for their spot in the Masters category, while the last of the cars reach the end of this race with only, I want to say, 1 car lap down. That was Woody Witchard that we saw get caught by the leaders in the end, as Chiacchetti and Shermer are going to be the last one. So that gives us a chance to go through the finishing order. Cole Kleck going to be your winner here in race number 1. Alan Metni following him across the line, barely 0.6 of a second behind him. Scott Blend is P3, but is our winner in the Masters. Caden Kelly winds up in second in the Masters. Then 5th overall, Tony Melito will be on the podium, his first of the season. Therese Lalou behind him 6th, and Demir Hott in 7th. Then it is Daniel Bloom in 8th. John Gilliland does come home with a podium there in 3rd in Masters, 9th overall, with David Williams, Joey, winding up in 10th.
Yeah, and then we had Treffert in that number 214 car. That was that huge pack that we saw a little bit later in the race. He finishes 11th with Mark Bowden coming home in that 12th place position. Laura Eli finishing in 13th overall, with Conley back here in 14th. Joel Johnson, after that little bit of a slip up, that spin coming out of turn number 11, falls back to what is 15th place. Mike Mim finishing in 16th, with Kesman back here 17th. Willingham 18th, Cron in 19th, and Poole rounding out your top 20.
Alex Pratt was 21st today, John Manship 22nd, and then Eric Lapp in 23rd. Vitiello following him home 24th with Thomas Herb 25th, and Gafarov 26th. Charles White will be P27 today, Chiacchetti 28th, and Shermer 29th. Witchard last one home, and 30th as Fens was a DNF in the end. We'll have your podium celebrations happening in just a moment, so stick around for more here in the 992 Cup Cars.
It's hard to contain your excitement when you get something you've really wanted. Like the gold standard in automotive protection, WeatherTech floor liners. With deep sculpted channels and laser measured for total protection in the front, back, and even up the sides.
Dad, you're going viral.
What? WeatherTech me.
So don't be shy, enjoy. Order your premium American-made products at WeatherTech.com.
Experience the ultimate thrill, Porsche GT Track Day, where passion meets performance on some of North America's most legendary racetracks. Designed exclusively for Porsche owners, this is your chance to unleash the full potential of your vehicle in a motorsport environment. Drive the same circuits as professional racers, on the same weekend as Porsche Sprint Challenge events. Where will your Porsche take you? With limited space, every Porsche GT Track Day ensures a premium, exclusive experience. You'll get nearly 3 hours of track time, starting with reconnaissance laps, progressing through lead-follow sessions, and culminating in exhilarating open laps. Plus, strap in for heart-pounding hot laps with a professional race driver.
I thought I was fast. Didn't resemble anything that I've ever done.
Beyond the track, immerse yourself in VIP hospitality, premium viewing areas, and exclusive paddock access where you can witness Porsche Sprint Challenge teams in action. Spots are limited. Scan the QR code now to reserve your place at Porsche GT Track Day.
incredible race for the 992 Cup cars in Porsche Sprint Challenge North America. But it's time for our podium celebrations. And we're going to kick it off with the 992 Masters. Finishing third today, driving the number 280, we have John Gilliland. Finishing P2 with a spirited battle in the number 208, Caden Kelly. And just relentless energy and speed. Our winner going back to back today, the 245 of Scotland.
Up next to you here. Great job again. You won again.
It's always good to be able to talk to you. You know, something's good is happening when you got the mic in my face.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So to walk us through the race today, definitely had quite a bit of pressure. You had to make a pass there on Caden. He was giving you a good battle. What was your thoughts through all that?
No question. I had a clunky start, so I lost 2 places to Therese and to Caden at turn 1, so I kind of just had to claw back. Just focus and be patient, and it worked out. And, it's a tough track to stay clean for 35 minutes. So I just had to kind of wait, make sure my mistakes weren't at the same time as his were, and I was ready. So it was just a great race. The timing worked out great. It's a great race, and both these guys, the whole paddock, of course. And so, we're ready for one more, I guess, almost.
Great job, Scott.
Thank you.
Time for our 992 Masters podium here in Cup. Now we head off for the Good Boy Vodka Fastest Lap Award. Our quickest driver in the race was the 298 of Alan Metney. Congratulations to Alan. Now it's off to the 992 Pro-Am podium. What a fight this was for the win. Coming home in third, his first podium of the season, it's the 203 of Tony Melito. In P2, driving the number 298, he had to work for it, Alan Metney. And not to be denied, his 4th win in 5 races, it's the 211, our winner, Cole Clark.
All right, nice job, Cole. Congratulations on your win today. So what are your thoughts through this race? I know you had also a great battle there with Alan, especially at the end there. He was putting the pressure on. Were you focusing forward or in your mirrors?
Yeah, he definitely was in my mirrors all race. But no, we had to focus forward. I knew I had a good car, so kept my head down, hit my apexes and my marks, and then we came home with the win.
Nice job. So I also have a question for you. The track was really hot and greasy. We saw everybody sliding around out there. How did it affect your car?
Yeah, not too much. Our car was dialed in from green flag. Had to play with our tools a little bit with our ABS and our brake bias and dial in the car and settle it down.
All right, nice job.
Thank you.
of course, you can cool off with a little bit of cold champagne. That's our 992 Pro-Am podium finishers for number 1. It's time for round 2 a little later today. We'll be up next with the Caymans, race number 2 here at Circuit of the Americas.